that is the disservice that so many of the messages I see today are telling people, that just think happy thoughts, your life is going to be better. Well, if we don't ever deal with all of the things beyond the iceberg, it's the things that are below the surface that are destroying so many people's lives. And we just keep living in denial and thinking it's going to go away. And you have to be willing to do the work that is necessary to see transformation take place in your life. Everybody talks about greatness, but few ever embrace it. If I was to tell you about the process of me becoming who I am today, we would be here for years. I would just encourage you to read my autobiography, Unbreakable. You'll find a lot of the lessons and things there. But I could not even begin to summarize or encapsulate all of that for you in a small window of time. It's too much. And you can't even reduce your life and experiences down that much if we're being honest. Um, People see me doing great things in the world and they just assume that this has been an overnight process. Like I just woke up one day and all of a sudden everything, is better and everything is transformed and I just became this person. And the reality is there is so much that people don't know and there's so much that you didn't see. And that's why I'm so transparent and open about the journey and different experiences that have shaped me, because I want people to see that you don't just wake up one day and become great. You don't just wake up one day and become successful, that it's a process, it's a journey, and you have to be willing to develop into that person. Um, Few people know the silent battles, the turbulence, and all the uncomfortable seasons that have shaped me into who I am today. And so I always tell people a person can look like everything is just great in their life on the outside. And on the inside, they can be breaking and falling apart. And I look at so many people and they're like, oh, so and so's doing well. And I don't say anything, but in the back of my mind, it's like they don't have a clue. And then I'll go talk to so and so, and I'll say, I'm sensing that this is going on with your life, and a lot of times that person, they'll just start to pour out their heart, and they say, "How did you know that?" And it's like, because I've been there before. And you can wear this facade, and you can look like you have it all together, and everything is great in your life, but you can be self-destructing on the inside. And I always tell people, if you don't deal with your inner world, your outer world is going to be miserable. And so you got to take the time to do that inner work that is so necessary for you to become who you were created to be. I never get it twisted. I know I am not here by pedigree or historicity. I'm here by divine providence and the grace of God. We live in such an egotistical culture that people think that they're doing this on their own. And I am just humble enough to know that I am who I am and I have what I have by the grace of God. And, a lot of people are triggered when I start to talk about my faith and God. And I make no apologies for it. I always tell people they don't have to listen, they can turn it off. They don't have to follow me, they don't have to subscribe to my message. But faith in God has gotten me to where I am today. So I'll never make apologies for that, and I will never dumb that down to make anybody feel comfortable. So if that is offensive to you, then perhaps my message is not for you. But I realize that all of this is by the divine providence and the grace of God. And my life is simply a testament to the faithfulness of God. You know, God has blessed me to do some great things and to have great impact in the world. And I realize that it's all just a testament to the goodness of God. It's not about me. It's not about anything that I've done or tried to build or try to establish. It's not about even the doors that He's opened or the platforms that God has allowed me to stand on, but it's all about His goodness and allowing my life to be a seed that has multiplied and flourished and impacted the lives of so many people in so many different places. When I look at the world today, I'm disturbed by what I see happening in leadership. I see many leaders leading with the ego and not empathy. And a lot of people say to me all the time, they say, Jamel, you're just very different because than what we see from a lot of people operating in leadership. And I tell them I have nothing to be arrogant or egotistical about. I haven't forgotten the journey. I haven't forgotten what I've gone through. I haven't forgotten some of the things that I still go through on a consistent basis. And so when you understand that, there's no ounce of pride there. You operate with a strong sense of humility because you realize that it's not you. And people are like, oh, you're so gifted and so talented, but my talent is not enough. If there was not God backing me and genuine people, which is so hard to find, genuine and real people that really love you and really care about you and don't have this other agenda motive that they're trying to get something from you or do something. That's very rare in the world. So I realized that with this influence and this platform comes an incredible amount of responsibility. And anytime I see very egotistical and prideful people, they don't really understand the weight of leadership. And if I start talking about the weight of leadership, we'll be here all day. But they don't understand it. And they think that their merit and their skills and their abilities have produced all these things. And they don't realize that all of us are just chess pieces that God is using to accomplish something bigger in the world. It's not about you. It's about what God desires to do through you that's going to impact more lives. But I won't stay there. Um, so many leaders are arrogant and egotistical, and they possess no humility. They deceive themselves into believing that they rose to power by their own strength and their own merits. They're quick to forget the people that mentored them, trained them, played a part in their development, and even opened doors for them. So that's why I'm like, how can you be arrogant? Nobody did this on their own. Even the person that will try to take all the credit, it was somebody that opened the door for you. It's somebody that taught you something. It's somebody that spent time and invested in you for you to become who you are. And when you realize that, it produces this humility and this gratitude for everything in your life because you realize that without that divine providence and those relationships and people, you would not be who you are today anyway. And that's why I always say, how dare you say that you're self made? Nobody is self made. I don't care what they tell you. Nobody is self made. In reality, someone had to play a role in your success. And we have to stop defining success by other people's standards and expectations. I remember years ago, a dear friend of mine, we were having a conversation, and he was saying, Jamel, in every sense of the word, there are a lot of things that God has allowed you to do that people would call successful. And I laughed and I said, well, what exactly do you mean by successful? And he said, well, that's what I wanted to ask you. He said, what exactly does success look like in the perspective of Jamel Sanders? And I told him that success to me is not about accolades, achievements, or the accoutrements of success. Success to me is making a difference in people's lives and knowing that I'm doing the thing that God put me here to do. And so much of what we see, these vanity metrics, we make success about likes, we make success about follows, we make success about how much visibility our brand is getting. And while all of those things are important, at the end of the day, our legacy is not going to be how many likes we had, how many people followed us, how many people knew our name. Our real legacy is going to be the work and the difference that we made in other people's lives and the contribution we made to the world. That's what's going to really be important. And when I said that, it's like something went off in him. He's like, wow, we've gotten this all wrong. And I see so many people, they're chasing it. They're chasing the metrics. They're chasing the likes. They're chasing the fame. They're chasing the fortune. And I tell people all of that stuff is